I'll start the meeting at 4:03, and we will certainly welcome Sashi and Chuck if they can join us. Oh, there he is.
Hey, Chuck.
Hi. We just began. Okay, so those who didn't hear, Rosemary will not be joining us today. So we hope to see Sashi when she can participate. So any communications? We have no public here, but any communications to share from the past month? Hearing none, nor do I. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the June 16th meeting?
So moved.
Okay, Hallie, second Catherine, thank you. Okay. And those were sent to us. Thank you, Barbara, for excellent work.
Thank you.
Well, that's the hardest job. I totally recognize that. Any additions, comments, suggestions to the minutes? Very thorough. Going once, twice, okay, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes as emailed to us, please say aye.
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 Opposed, abstaining. Okay, motion carried. Thank you very much, Barbara, for those excellent minutes.
You're welcome.
So that moves us on to the statistics. And I wish Rosemary could have been here because I know she was the one who suggested that we also get a 2021 monthly comparison, which thank you, Jennifer, for doing that. So
You're welcome.
turn it over to our statistics expert, Jennifer, and any questions, please ask or comments.
Yeah, I won't belabor the normal one that we have. I just wanted to, of course, call out to the library visits. The library visits, as well as our new patron registrations, meaning library cards. Just to notice the people are definitely aware that we have been active with opening and getting people in the building with summer reading related activities. So I think that attributes to the larger number for June.
Which one?
And then go ahead. I'm sorry.
Are you looking at the monthly or the yearly?
No, the yearly.
All right, thank you.
It says monthly statistics, our normal one that we go over every month.
Okay,
Um,
sorry.
I mean, you could actually see it on the yearly as well, but I'm looking at the June 21 numbers at the moment.
At 15,094.
394, correct. Yes, like I said, I can attribute that to a lot of the summer reading programming that we are doing, especially with the kickoff.
And these
that
are
we've
all
had.
in-person visits, people walking through.
Yes, correct.
Again.
Correct. And then, like I said, the new patron registration we have seen, and it's funny because we have noticed, and when we saw the number of people that are coming in to get library cards. And funny enough, one of the most common comments that is made as of late is, I just moved here. We've just moved in, whether it's military or just people moving into town from different places, from New England or New York, and saying that they wanted to receive a library card. So we've definitely seen that foot traffic, and we've signed a lot of people up. So those are the two main comments I wanted to make. I don't know if you have any questions on that first statistical page.
I did. To me, it was really significant that from the month of May to June, you had approximately 10,000 more customers come in.
Correct. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's without
Yes.
having the regular hours restored that we have always.
Right. Absolutely.
It's
So,
almost like pre-pandemic in terms of the numbers.
Yeah, so it's interesting that May was a little lower than April. I would have expected the April to be lower because we felt that we didn't see a lot of people starting until like May 19th, because with the governor's changes, people thought that's when we actually opened, was May 19th, because of what the governor was saying about opening libraries and businesses and things, more fully, or the mask mandates were relaxed and things. So yeah, I had expected it to be a little higher in May, but June, I can tell you, even as of right now, we are definitely seeing a more influx of people for different reasons. I mean, everything from study to summer reading. We just opened the meeting rooms. So even though it's a 0 right now, we will see that number change, for the following month. And of course, you won't get those statistics until September, but we are definitely seeing people coming and using the meeting rooms.
Jennifer, just refresh my memory and perhaps other board
Sure.
members. Without a counter at the entrance, how do you extrapolate the numbers? Is it a random kind of sampling, or why don't you explain how you get that?
Of course, actually,
exact-
we do have a counter. We do have a people counter,
Oh.
and we take it every month, or every month, every day. I'm sorry, every day, and then we add up the numbers and we divide by 2, because of course, if you're coming in, you're leaving. So we divide by 2. So we do have a counter that counts when people are walking in and out of the building.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that you did.
The only thing that we have been counting manually is we were using for the computers, we were using our Event Keeper, which is our meeting room reservation system, and we utilize that for our computers. But now we're finding it's I don't want to say it's labor intensive, but extracting some of the information from people when all you want to do is just hand them a card and let them go to the computer. We're doing that manually. So when they come to the desk, we're just saying, here's your card to get to the desk. And we're just notating that manually now. So it's not electronic, just the people counter.
Okay, thank you.
The other increase too, for statistical purposes, are wireless internet numbers. We actually I get a weekly report with our new hubs and our new wireless system. We're able to get that digitally, that number. So.
Any other questions or comments about the data? I mean, it's wonderful to see that number increase so significantly.
Yes.
Okay. Hearing none, do you want to move to your activities reports?
Sure, absolutely.
And thank you for doing that additional statistic. I think it was really helpful to see it.
Absolutely, and I can just as a fun side note, I've talked to my financial assistant, and we're going to be working on really, I don't want to say cleaning up is probably not the great word, but making it more interactive, getting the right numbers in there, in the sense of he's just a whiz with Excel, so we're thinking pie charts and all kinds of fun stuff, so it's a little more visual, a little better to understand. So, and we'll keep going with the monthlies as well as the yearly. So.
Good, I like that.
As for activities, I just wanted to say we've chosen a children's librarian. And they've accepted the offer. Andrea Mancini is slated to come on August 16th. She had to secure she had to secure housing in the area. She's moving from Philadelphia, and we're really excited to have her on board. She has a Master of Library Science, but she also has a master's in social work and also is bilingual. So we're very excited to have her on board. She's got a lot of energy, and just looking forward to have another children's librarian because people are really getting excited about being in the library again. So just that pretty important, because having another staff member in the building, especially with busyness increasing, will be very helpful. I just wanted a couple updates. We did go to the job fair over at the Marriott on June 30th. And believe it or not, it wasn't as packed as it usually is, but we did have some great conversations with people. A lot of people wanted resume help, so we'll be facilitating those on individual appointment basis. But people are definitely looking for employment. We had an impromptu birthday party for Officer Chase, also known as our therapy dog in town. that works with Officer Heather. And let me tell you, the foot traffic from that was pretty interesting, because what we did was we had a story time and we shuttled all the kids outside for the birthday party. So the majority of our program has been, we haven't had anything on site really, except for summer reading kickoff. And that was just to come in to pick up some information. It wasn't to actually participate in a program. So went off really well. We had some dogs and people, and just social engagement was great. So we're really happy to celebrate that. And then our Scholastic Book Fair, Circle of Friends Book Fair, has been going on for the month of July. And I know Catherine and Matthew have participated in volunteering for some of those open slots, and it's going fantastic. We've actually broken a record. We normally have received about $1,200 from any individual book fair. And from what I've been told as of today, we're hitting the 4,000 mark. So the great thing about these kind of Scholastic Book Fairs is they give us, they take a percentage, but we get half of what is sold. And then on top of that, we're able to purchase through them, or actually get gifted in summer reading type incentive prizes. So we get to look through their catalog and go through that for the kids. So a lot of win-wins out of that. And I think it's a great, a great program during the summer, for the simple fact that, Scholastic Book Fairs are typically held during the school year, and we have no competition with that. And on top of that, it's summer reading. So why wouldn't you want to get a book? And families have been coming in and purchasing some books for their children. So it's been great. Unite CT, I wanted everyone to be aware of that, because anybody that that needs assistance with rental assistance as well as electricity assistance, this is a program run by the Connecticut Department of Housing. And we're going to have office hours at Human Services. That is going to be, publicized. I believe they probably already publicized it, but it's going to be in more locations that this is being offered, 9 to noon, Monday and Wednesday. And we just had the mobile van at the library the other day, and we're hoping to continue having the mobile van come and, tell more people about this program, because if you were affected by COVID and these things are a problem, you definitely need to reach out to Human Services, or we can help you along the way to get some emergency relief. Very great program.
That van
Yep.
is terrific. I saw it in the parking lot the other day, and it's got enough info on it that you can tell what it's for and how it will help you. So, I mean, it's like a movable ad. It's wonderful.
I know, isn't it great? And it's interesting because a lot of people did make appointments. So believe it or not, they took walk-ins, but they had a lot of appointments that day. And I think it was a convenient location for many people to just be able to come up and ask questions and then get signed up and talk to a knowledgeable counselor on that. So it's a win-win, I think, for people. So see what else we have. 2 big programs coming up: National Night Out, which is held by the Town of Police, and they work, Town of Groton Police. They're working with a lot of our town departments. And what's great about that, it's Tuesday, August 3rd from 5 to 8. Everything's free. They're having all kinds of like a Touch a Truck event. They're having the library sponsored a table. We're going to have Captain America there. There's going to be food available. So it's really to reach out to families. It's really a community policing effort and a collaboration with town departments to, just a good community event to gather people safely, but to, just encourage the socialization and community gathering. So I'm really excited about being part of that. And the outdoor market, which is a collaboration between the library and the senior center. It's going to be on the grounds of the library in the front, where the sale is expected to eventually be going. There's already about 30, 32, 35 tables and booths going to be set up, so people can sell their wares. It's kind of like, I want to say it would be more like it's not exclusively an arts and crafts fair, but it's similar to that. And something to acknowledge about that, the watercolor raffle that's next on the list, that that we will be announcing the winner of whoever, you know, puts in for the raffle for that. We will be announcing the winner after the market, because we're going to have a booth that you can also put in raffle tickets for that. So it's it should be a fun event. Hallie?
What time is the outdoor market?
The outdoor market is going to be 10 to 2
Thank you.
on Saturday, August 7th.
That was my question. I thought it was 10 to 12. Maybe I
I thought
misread it.
it's 10 to 2. Maybe I'm
Well, just-
incorrect. I could double check on that for you.
It's
We haven't
not
put out the
really-
publicity yet.
well,
The
it's-
only thing to also note is there's going to be no rain date. So it's just going to happen or it's not. So we'll put out notations for that.
Also on the same day is the Groton Heights Open House Day, which is a local, like Connecticut Open House Day. It's a local event from 10
Oh
to
yeah,
2.
actually,
From 10
that's for the whole
That's-
region, isn't it? Is that is it
oh, no,
just
anybody-
exclusively Groton?
No, anybody can come. Yeah, it's open to everybody. We're hoping people will come from all over. But it's
Mhm.
highlighting the historic locations in Groton Heights. And
Is that a single location, or is that going to be?
no, it's multiples, all the different places.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, Bill Library,
it
Avery
does.
Pub, the Fort,
Oh, wonderful.
Ebenezer Avery. So
Are
hopefully,
you on that committee, Haley?
yes, I am.
Would you be gracious enough to send me a notice of where it's going to be?
It's all over Facebook. Let me make a note. I'll send you a link
Thank you.
to, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would be great because we could share that information too if
Yeah.
you're
Okay.
interested.
Sure.
Be happy to share that out. I mean,
Mhm.
we love the historical organizations
Yeah.
and Groton, of course.
Okay.
And that's
I will get
August
that.
7th as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. We'll share it, sure.
What are you doing and what do you want?
Jennifer, is there any fundraising involved in or proceeds from the outdoor market that will benefit the library? Is that a
Yes,
fundraiser?
yes. Mhm. We're gonna split it
Hmm.
between us and the senior center.
The rental tables?
It's $10 a table.
Mhm.
And we made it pretty low because it's going to be outside and, you know, people could technically bring their own table. We're not really sure this is going to be the first of its kind. So we're going to trial it out first and see what kind of, you know, kind of crowd it draws and, you know, check out the weather because the weather's been so far. So we hope it's going to be okay. But we're hoping it continues to grow and, you know, we could, you know, if we had to down the line, if it's outside and we had a couple things inside, I mean, eventually we could go that route if it gets that big. So
Mhm.
we've been doing a lot of collaborative events with the senior center, especially. Seems like a no-brainer. They're our neighbor and a town department. So, and we share a lot of similar customers. So we're excited about continue that collaborative you know, venture with them. And last but not least, for the activities, I just wanted to alert, especially, I don't know, Hallie, if this is something that you're part of, but we're a Lighthouse Passport Center. And what that basically means, we have the Avery Point Lighthouse stamp.
Oh.
So if you're part of that Lighthouse Passport, if you're really into that, what it is you buy a passport and you can go to different lighthouse locations all across the nation and you pay like $2 fee to get the stamp. If you need a passport, you can purchase them. We do have passports to purchase at the library and it's $2 to purchase the actual Avery stamp. And
Cool.
all the proceeds just go to our local history department or room to preserve more materials or purchase more things for that room. So pretty excited to have that.
Great.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you, Carl.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
I'm
yeah.
on the
Excellent.
boat. So that's what your passport looks like. And then
Wonderful.
you get a bunch of stamps if you come here.
Now, are
So
those a
cool.
rubber stamp impression, or do they have stamps you put into it?
It's the rubber stamp. It's
Okay.
not the like notary kind. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you bring your passport book to the library, and for $2, they'll
stamp
put
it
it-
with the Avery
Yeah.
Avery lighthouse stamp.
that they.
See the stamp it's showing you.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Very cool.
So there's multiple locations in Groton that
Yeah, I
are
haven't, heard of it.
authorized.
I don't think we're a part of it.
We actually have, and I'm sure Chuck has this too. We have I don't want to say a listing, but it gives you a little information. You can even come to the library and pick that up. You don't have to buy anything, just pick it up. It's informational, kind of gives you more information about the Lighthouse program, passport program, and where you can go get those passports. It's not just exclusive to Groton, it's nationally. So, and it's funny, we didn't even put it out there, and we were getting letters from people like sending their money and with their passports, and then shuttling them back to them because they wanted the stamp. So but it's people really get into the passport type programs. So yeah, we're lucky to have one. So
Any questions of Jennifer of the activities in June? Very interesting. Okay, then why don't we move over to the new business, and Sashi, welcome. I know you have a
hi,
busy
Sashi.
Monday.
I actually joined through Lisa's web link, and I could hear you, but I couldn't see myself. Then I went back to the town of Groton link. Anyway, that's fine.
She's back. Great.
So we have
Okay, so
two
yep,
items
go
of
ahead.
new business.
So I just wanted to make mention, now that we're getting more people, we're still looking at, the news, trying to keep up with what's happening in the world with COVID. But we are slated to open until 8 p.m. starting August 2nd. We're creeping up slowly because, we're just keeping an eye on what's happening in the world. But we think it may be time that we can open up a couple more computers and add a couple more study tables. So we're just, we're taking it a little bit at a time. Most of our business that we see is around, I want to say like the 10:30 o'clock time. And then we see a push in the mid-afternoon. But when it comes to, I don't know, I want to say maybe 6 o'clock, it gets really quiet, but there's still people who want to come in and study. So, and the fact that we've opened up the meeting rooms, we want to allow people to have, their gathering if they need to do something in the meeting rooms and, need it for a 6:30 to 8 o'clock or 7 to 8 o'clock. We want to accommodate that. So the hours are going to be changing. And like I said, additional computers and study tables. And then passports, we're seeing a huge increase in passports applications. The only problem is that the passport agency themselves, they're delaying. Delay times are up to 18 weeks for a standard passport because there's a couple things. There was a big backlog. Plus, a lot of people are applying now because they want to run away from home. And then the third problem is delivery. They're having a significant issue with delivery of the passports to and from the agency and back. So they told us we have to tell people for a standard passport, it could be up to 18 weeks before you receive it. So don't make plans until you have that passport in hand. Yeah, a lot of those are coming in. So that's good news. That's really it I have for new business. I don't know if anybody has anything else.
Any questions or? So just going back to your first one, to the hours. going to
Mhm.
extend 4 days a week till 8 o'clock, or maybe you could talk about the
Yes,
whole.
I'm sorry. Yes,
Saturday,
Monday through Thursday. Correct,
Monday
Monday
through
through Thursday. We're still doing 9:30 to 8 only because I mentioned that the food service is still going on, and we're just getting back in the swing of that. And then till 8 o'clock Monday through Thursday, we're keeping the hours for Friday and Saturday. And we're hoping, we've already started asking for substitutes for Sunday coming up in the fall. So we have it earmarked that Sundays are going to be opening. We just, of course, are going to follow what transpires as of, what's going on with COVID. But we are expected to have Sunday hours this year.
Sorry then. What are the hours for Friday and Saturday?
Friday's 9:30 to 5:30, and Saturday is 9:30 to 5.
And those were the hours that you had prior to the pandemic? Or is 9?
We were 9 prior to the pandemic. We were 9 to 9 Monday through Thursday, and then 9 to 5:30, 9 to 5 Saturday, and then 1 to 5 Sundays, September through May. So we're expected, again, the earmarks that we're expected to go back to resuming normal hours, hopefully in September. That's the plan as of now.
All right. We are moving along here, but we have, I think the last is saving the best for last, the old business. Circle of Friends update. We also have to discuss and decide if we're going to have not only the August board meeting, but also what we're going to do in September. And then I wanted to be sure that we gave Matthew time to, I think we really didn't do you justice last meeting, talk about marketing strategies. So I want to be sure that we brought that back again. Okay, so we'll just start in order that they're listed, the Circle of Friends.
I just wanted to, one thing I said that I was going to send you all was like a basic review of the Friends. So if there was anybody that was interested to either it doesn't necessarily have to be on a board, they just want to become a friend member or what exactly they do. And as I was creating, I was like, well, we have a brochure already. So it's got all of our information about what it does, or what they do. And so that's why I provided, but we have a ton of those in the library, and we can always, give some to you if you're interested to just tell people about it. But I did want to highlight that we, as of 2 weeks ago, we have a full board of Circle of Friends. We have a president, a vice president, a secretary, and a treasurer. So our new president is Angela Houghton. She is an avid library user. Her family has been Junior Friends members since Junior Friends started. She's just a wonderful person, and we're excited to have her on board. And then Tiana Clinton is our new vice president, and she's another longtime library user, as well as her family is also long time Junior Friends members. Both families very, very active in Junior Friends, as well as Friends related stuff. So they just came on board. We had a meeting with them just to basically go over what all the activities are, what the Friends do, basically a full outline of everything that happens, and they're jumping right on board. And then our secretary, Sue Troy, has stayed on board, and Ellen Brown, who's our treasurer, is also going to remain our treasurer. So we have a full board, but we'd love to have more members come. They haven't set meetings yet because, again, we're not quite sure. They're not quite sure yet when the best time will be for an in-person meeting, but they definitely want to make an effort to get that on the books at some point, because as we all know, it's time to hopefully get in person and meet people and socializing and get invested. So I just wanted to say that we're in a good standing right now, and hopefully it'll carry on. So
Matthew?
A question for you, Marie. not wanting it to be a burden to the circle of friends at all, but do you think it would be appropriate for you to invite them to attend any of our meetings as observers, just so they feel exceptionally welcome?
I think we were on the same mind there, Matthew. I was, as Jennifer was speaking, I thought maybe not, not maybe, in the fall to have the board. Be nice to meet them in person if possible, but I think that we could certainly have them attend a meeting and make them welcome and let them know who we are too, that we support them.
Great, thank you.
One thing I did want to say about Matthew had come and volunteered to help out at the book sale, or the book fair, I should say. And he had a great suggestion, and one I think we touch upon it, and we can go over a little bit at the marketing, but maybe possibly having some of these younger people, whether high school or whatnot, kind of lean in and see what we do as a board, or see what you do as a board, or maybe even the Circle of Friends board, to get young people invested in these kind of boards. And I thought it was a great thing that he brought up, because Tiana Clinton, the vice president, her daughter has been helping out at the book fair, and boy, what an amazing person. And she's super excited. I think she wants to be a librarian, but she was like, I'd be so excited to learn more about everything that the library partakes in. So whether or not we invite high schoolers or somebody to attend some of these meetings, it'd be wonderful, to gather some interest from younger people.
Yeah, and actually that worked out really well in East Lyme, where the library director would ask me every 2 years or so to recommend a student to the board. And there was actually a position, a student representative to the East Lyme Public Library of East Lyme board. And then that person, that student, was able to, report to their student senate and so forth. So it was a really strong connection. And as the Groton Public is working hard to strengthen connections with the town schools, I think it really would be a very purposeful and I said very purposeful to relationships of this public library and the school district, but also very beneficial to the student who, you just said, Jennifer, will gain insight about the profession and careers. But it was always it was something that a student could put on their college application, that they were served on a board. I don't know if that would be a bylaw change to actually have a student board member, or if our bylaws say there's a certain age requirement, something that could be looked at.
What we typically did in Lansing, New York, was have somebody from the upper end of the middle school and one from the high school recommended by the high school or middle school librarian, who would serve as student observers. They would not be voting members of the board, but they would be invited to participate in discussions subject to the chair's discretion, of course. We've never had to go into executive session. I don't anticipate we're ever going to have to go into executive session. So there's really nothing that I think is of confidential nature.
That's a great way to start this, as an easy way to gain student involvement, young person involvement.
I actually think one of your students, who's been a longtime library user, I think she's in high school and taking, I believe, LTA classes. I know her first name is Elena, but Elena. I can't remember her last name, but she.
East Lyme?
No, from Groton.
Oh, from Groton.
From Groton.
I didn't think we had
But
any.
she was raving about her classes. So I think she's set on the track to eventually become a librarian. But she's volunteering her time and has for a while. So like I said, there's just more and more people. As Matthew brought it up, I'm like, think of 4 right off the top of my head that would probably be very interested. So definitely worth pursuing at some point when we're ready, or when you're ready.
Theoretically, if we're going to have this new Miss Mancini or Mrs. Mancini is going to be coming aboard, that might be something to run by her as to whether she would be interested in having a youth advisory board that could be helpful to her.
Sure, sure.
Mhm, mhm.
Mhm. Definitely.
I like it. I like it a lot. Because I've seen it work and it can work very, very well. Very, very well.
Sounds great. We'll get
So-
through the summer.
Right, put October agenda, something,
Yeah,
take note in.
I'm taking notes, so I'll put it on one of the
Let's
next.
use that thought, Matthew. I think it's a great idea. It's a great idea. Any other update on the Circle of Friends? I'm so pleased to hear we have an active board.
Yes.
And yes, I would very much
Good.
board members to, COF board members to attend a meeting where they'd be welcomed and get to know
Great.
us.
Board. Yep. Okay, and so the joint board meeting, I just wanted to, because Marie had asked me to double check with the other boards. The consensus seems to be that we should book it. And then if we have to cancel it, we'll cancel it, because, you know, if COVID, if something strange happens where we can't meet in person again, they're prepared, as I'm sure you are, that if we have to pull the rug, we will. But they were very comfortable with, yes, let's book it, because they also too want to see people. So they said unless there's something that changes, they're willing to come to our the joint board meeting that we have potentially put on the agenda.
That's
So.
great news.
That is good.
And
Hey,
yeah,
on-
what date did you want to do though?
Well,
that was a question.
on the Groton Public Library events calendar, it's
Mhm.
on the calendar as Wednesday, September 22nd from 4 to 9 p.m. Now that's a bit,
Well, I put it, that was a placeholder.
Okay.
Because I think somebody told me, and maybe we have a holiday on that third, I can't remember what day is it. Anyway, the normal time we meet was not convenient or something. So I looked to the following week and I put 4 to 9 because I didn't know if we meet
Wait.
at 4, but should we do 7? Should we do 6? It's totally up to you.
well, let's have some discussion about it. But September 22nd is the date that's on the calendar, Wednesdays. So
First day of autumn.
so I guess I'd like to kind of see a consensus or see if we have consensus that we do want to have an in-person, attempt to have an in-person.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is anyone, against that or uncomfortable with it? Okay, so we will move forward. That will be our goal, knowing
Okay.
that we pull the rug out from underneath it.
Okay.
And we really, what we just touched on last meeting was that, what we have one thing we have in common with every library is how to bring patrons back, which may or may not fall in with Matthew's ideas on marketing, if that's something that we want to propose as a, as a program.
Mhm.
Typically, we have and Hallie and Jennifer, Marilyn helped me out here. We have usually about a half hour, perhaps, of social with
Yeah.
cookies or made or something like that, iced tea. And then we have some kind of a purposeful education or speaker or discussion that is about maybe an hour at most. I wouldn't say any longer than that. It would be a little shorter. And then we kind of just break up to informal conversation. Some libraries have their board meeting either before or after for the month, before the joint or right after the joint meeting. It's very abridged type of meeting. So I think that when we've hosted, we've pushed our meeting back to be more accommodating to.
Bye-bye. Oh, sorry.
I thought that was your foot. I was like, so I guess that's the first, so we have a date, we have time, would early evening be better? Or do you want to have, we're 4 o'clock meetings and that would be the best for us, so see if they.
Joint
Would-
meetings are usually like 7 to 9, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So we can maybe meet half an hour before, half an hour, half
Mhm.
hour, half an hour before.
Well, the last time we did it, it was at the Bill Memorial Library, and we met an hour before, and then we went and had the meeting, with the joint meeting.
We did. Mhm.
That was a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
But we did have a meeting, I think, an hour before in some side room. And then we came out and everybody was there, and we socialized. And then
Right.
had the guest speaker from the hospitality or whatever it was over in New London.
Mhm.
Mhm. Right. I would not think we need a whole hour for our board meeting, but.
Oh, yeah, half an hour is fine, but we had it
Yeah.
beforehand, is what I was trying to say.
Right. Jennifer, do you think the library would be open till 9 o'clock on that, or is that taking
I'll
a?
be honest, because it's me, we can stay as long as you want.
Mhm,
We'll just
mhm.
put down the gate and everybody can exit out, whether or not we're open or not. I mean, it's our board meeting, so,
Mhm.
we would have it in the back anyway, if it was under normal circumstances, and you would just leave after that. So,
Mhm.
with or without 9 o'clock, we can continue.
Right. I'm just gonna toss this out as a proposal that we meet as a board at 6 o'clock, have a brief meeting. Just do the business that we have to do. And with a social beginning at maybe 6:30, 6:45, with the meeting starting at 7. Is that pushing it to?
Yeah. I think it just depends on who we want to have speak too.
Right.
So, but if it's marketing, I'm sure I can find some. I mean, we can if we know a topic, I can maybe get some people that, or figure out something from staff. Got great programmers, so I'm sure we can find something of interest for all of us. So,
Well, let's
that
kind
would
of
be
draw
educational.
some ideas of what would be common to all 3 libraries in the town of Groton. What would people feel would be pertinent and would draw people in to want to learn about. I thought the hospitality was fabulous. It was just something really enlightening. We the last time we hosted, we had the Groton History Room as a.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was
That's
very
right.
good.
Mhm.
I like the idea of doing something on how to draw people back to the
Right.
libraries.
That's what I was thinking, that because we're all coming out of COVID and trying to figure out how to draw people back in, it'd be nice to have all 3 libraries talk about the challenges they're facing. And maybe we can help each other that way. I don't know. But I don't know who the guest speaker would be.
There are 2 sides to that, Marilyn. There's the challenges we're facing, but I'm also willing to bet my nickel that Jen will agree that there are also things we learned from this experience that we can use in the future.
Absolutely.
And each
Yes.
library may have a slightly different take on that. So if we can cross-fertilize, that'd be great. Are we going to invite Waterford to come to this as well?
No, it's just our libraries.
It's the 3 Groton libraries.
Mhm.
Okay.
What if somebody from each library spoke about what they learned during the pandemic and what their challenges are now? And maybe somebody could facilitate kind of a discussion afterward.
I think that's a good idea. It's very relevant.
And then a sharing of what each group has come up with, or I can see the paper on the boards, but say a little bit more, Barb, what you're thinking, if you could.
I was thinking someone from each library makes maybe a brief presentation, like, I don't know, 5 minutes, so it doesn't eat up a lot of time. And then if you had a good facilitator, somebody could pull out things from the presentations, like things that were common, things that were different, ask how did, if one library seemed to have an issue that others didn't, how did you solve that, or how can others help you solve it? What's unique to one library versus another? But you'd need a good facilitator who can kind of be on top of the presentations in order to
I
do
don't
that.
think that would be terribly difficult because, as I had mentioned throughout this whole pandemic, we've been in very close communication with Bill and Mystic and Waterford, but Bill and Mystic over this whole period. In fact, I'm meeting with them for lunch to welcome aboard the long deserved welcome to the two new directors. But one of the things that we've talked about at each meeting, it used to be weekly, then it became bi-weekly and then monthly, was just that. What were the challenges? How do we help each other? What's working for them at the moment because, they're smaller or we're bigger. So I don't think it would be too hard to pull something like that together.
Would it be appropriate to, I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but to have somebody like Betty Ann come back and lead a discussion, get everybody talking?
Eileen, Hank is coming up the stairs.
I don't know. I mean, it could definitely be a possibility. I think she's gone. I think she's on vacation because I know she's not going to be able to attend the One Book One Region, but I don't know what point she's leaving in September and then off. There is a couple of facilitators that we work with at UConn that were really wonderful. That might be available at those times because we had them come for book discussions as well as TED Talks, and they were fantastic. Could certainly reach out to them.
Will we need some of the library background or the facility? We're looking for both, or obviously a strong facilitator, but
I don't think it would have to be somebody with a library background, just somebody who can listen and pull out ideas that would be, worth expanding on.
Two comments on that.
What do we do with those ideas as they're presented? Do we get this information? Would we have a next, a follow-up with how to implement an idea? Like take one of these ideas and how would it be implemented across the three libraries? Or so the facilitator hears us, here's the speakers.
I think maybe let the library directors figure that out, I imagine maybe something would come out of it that all three libraries could share, but maybe something will come out of it that would only be applicable to Groton or Mystic and Noank. And it sounds like you guys meet regularly, so maybe you guys could talk and figure out, what the path forward is, if there needs to be some sort of, or could be some sort of joint action, or,
I really like the idea of having it be grassroots, real, as with the conversations among the three libraries, and as opposed to bringing an outside expert in at this point. I think this is really, Matthew.
This is where my newness shows after a year and a half, because I understand the history is that it's the three libraries in Groton, but I'm a little confused about that. And I'm not challenging what you do at all. I'm just not understanding why Waterford's not involved. We have a consortium with them. And to add to that perspective, at the last month's meeting when we talked about marketing, the reaction that several of you said is we really can't expect the media to just cover us. We've got to expand and engage New London and Waterford so that we have some strength. And I think this COVID, as terrible as it's been, it gives us the opportunity now to invite, not to do forever, but at least on a one-shot basis, the Waterford and New London librarians to, not the whole boards, but at least Aaron Rosen. I don't know if you know Aaron Rosenberg, don't you?
Yep.
Okay, these folks have something to offer us, and we may have something to offer them, and I really would rather,
Mhm.
it's my bias, I'm willing to be outvoted and be happily go along with whatever you want, but I want to get out of our silo.
Well, Matthew, let me just toss this as you, I mean, your points are really well taken. Would maybe a panel of regional library directors?
Whatever you want, I just
I'm
think
just thinking
it's
the
a great
number,
opportunity to expand our knowledge exchange.
yeah.
I'll get more into some of the other things when we get to marketing, but this is part of marketing. This is not marketing to the public. This is marketing between ourselves to share and get to know one another and our strengths. Well, I don't want to absorb their weaknesses, but maybe they can help us with our strengths. Anyway, I'll shut up.
You know, that's a good idea for, I think, maybe for another time.
Mhm.
But
Whatever you
traditionally,
guys want,
the
I am a
Groton
good.
libraries have met because we all, oh my God, what is this stuff that's popping up on my screen? Because we all serve the same people. It's like we're all intermixed here. And if you go across the river, different problems, different issues, different people.
As I said, I don't know the history, and I'm amenable to whatever you guys say.
Also, there's a commonality of funding. Well, you know, the town of Groton
Okay,
fully funds the public library, but partially funds or it gives funds to the other two. So there is something about that unity of the town of Groton that
I get it. I'll approach it differently under marketing, but I get it. Thank you.
okay. So can we flesh this out a little bit more? Who does what, when, where, how, and how do we get this?
How about I'm meeting with the other directors next week in person, and I could broach them about, you know, basically their thoughts on this kind of presentation and their comfortability, and, you know, maybe it's something us, you know, the three directors can discuss and flesh out a bit more, so then I can then just turn around, you know, next week and tell you what came out of that. I mean, I'm hoping it seemed like the other two directors are available that day. So if we change the date, I don't, you know,
Got it.
I may have to see if they're here, but I can certainly check in with them. This is what we're thinking. This is kind of the agenda that we want to have, and, you know, discuss that with them. So then we have at least more to provide to you. That's what that's of interest, and it's, you know, we're not wasting your time, basically.
And from it, that education for the board, it would, I think, be very helpful that, you know, board members leave the joint meeting with perhaps some ideas or strategies, what they can do to help bring people back, or how they can support their library, you know, their library with returning to the, you know, to normal. Or if there's an issue that comes up that's common, how can we work, you know, or through that? What would you predict, Jennifer, that just very briefly, what would come from these reports? What do you think would? I'm assuming
I'm not sure. I think it's a great idea. I think sometimes we do individually get stuck in our own silos, as Matthew said, in our own libraries. I know I feel that, but it's been a blessing to be able to converse with the two other libraries, especially, and some of the other ones, including Stonington and whatnot, about what's happening, how we've gone through this, how we've worked together. And I may not have talked enough about it, but we certainly did work together. Bill and we kind of followed each other this whole time, making sure that people weren't confused about hours and et cetera, et cetera. But I feel like it was a great relationship, collaboration, you know, better than ever before. We've had some great meetings together, and I think we've come as more of a team to, you know, for the community. The bottom line, the community. So as to what I think could come out of this, I mean, I think any new knowledge that we're stuck in library land, so sometimes we don't always see a bigger picture. So getting feedback from the boards, but getting feedback from the boards that you're all present with the other two boards too, I think would be super helpful. Because, again, we tend to be with our library, what we're doing, and not, the greater community. We have neighborhood libraries. So I think we could each take something from that. And I think it's good general discussion. I mean, we're still COVID with these rates. One thing that I can tell you right now that it's definitely going to come up in this, if we have this presentation, it's like throwing a dart in the air, because figuring out how to project what's next, should we be encouraging more people to come in? I purposely did not send out that email blast that I said I was going to, because I'm like, why confuse people? Let's wait until we get our full hours back before we make an email blast. How many blasts are you going to do? I mean, people are just, what's open, what's not. And then if COVID does happen to return and, full blast, how it has been in the past, then you're changing things again. It's super confusing, and people's tolerance at this point is zero. So I don't know. I think it'll be a great discussion, if nothing else, to give us some ideas, or just to socialize and engage that we're all going through this. So
Right.
it's a good social conversation. But I can certainly, like I said, I can talk to the directors. I see them next Wednesday at 1, and I can just talk to them, and I can give you feedback as soon as our conversation's over, Wednesday, Thursday, just to say, hey, this is a viable option for all of us, and maybe we can, if we have enough time, I can get an agenda even, started.
Sure, we can work together on one.
Sure, I
and
can send you some information.
You have some ideas of for a facilitator as well, which I think that really is important.
Yes.
Have that kind of
I can
neutral
check in
person
and see who's
listening.
available.
Right.
Sure.
Great. So we're good with a draft here on the joint meetings.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that I'm just going to slip in. So that means we don't need to have an August meeting. Yes. Yes.
Unless something comes up.
Okay. All right. What is it? We're not going to have an August meeting unless something really comes up that we just can't.
I'll touch
figure out.
base regardless about, for not only with this conversation, but what's transpiring for the September meeting. You'll hear from me
And I'm
prior to the meeting.
right. And as we get closer and we think about, we can't really rely on Circle of Friends just to provide the refreshments as we have in the past. So we may have to call on, our board to, or take some of the,
I think that's appropriate.
a little bit of funds to
Yeah.
do a little shopping and whatever. So to make it nice. Okay, great. Well, Matthew, it's 5 o'clock. I'm trying to give you at least a few
Well, I
minutes.
do need to cover something that is not board business, but it's for the good of the board. Jennifer knows this. For some time, I've been giving consideration to running for the school board, and the Democrats are meeting this evening. I am told that my application is likely to be approved. I did speak to Christine Connolly and others about the legality of serving on 2 boards, because it's not my desire to step down from this board. And I'm assured that as long as the only place where there would be any conflict is if there was a financial contractual relationship between the 2 organizations, in which case she said, just recuse yourself from that vote. So
Sure.
I am more than willing to stay on the board, would love to stay on the board. But you guys think if you're uncomfortable with having somebody, I might not even get elected, but if you're uncomfortable with that relationship, I'm going to respect whatever you want. That's really all I have to say. I'll know more factually tonight, and I'll let Jen know.
Well,
Now-
good luck to you. And I think it only would
Good
be
luck.
in the hand to have a school board member serve on the Groton Public Library Board.
Be
So,
helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love for you to stay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to. So, but I did not want you to come across a fait accompli and say, why didn't he have the courtesy to ask us? Okay.
Okay,
So
Thank you.
thank you.
let's go on to marketing.
More power to you.
I will suggest a couple of ideas. We talked about marketing to newspapers or media outlets, and I don't remember which of you it was, but the answer was very logical to me. This is my translation, there are too many small libraries for us to be able to do it ourselves. Now, if we want to be taken seriously, no media outlet's going to pay attention only to us. We should have some collaboration. Which way light bell went off, they're absolutely right. Can you put that up on the screen, Jennifer?
I'm gonna try. I don't,
If not,
because
I
I
will
can't see
show
my,
up a hard copy. So when I
maybe
was,
show a hard copy and then we can email it afterwards.
when this is a copy of a 1991, I was head of communications for the New York State Cooperative Extension System. And every month we would send out what we call a tip sheet. It consisted of about 12 or 14 things. One would be housing, one would be health, one would be agriculture, rape and sexual assault, deer management, but there were tip ideas. One little paragraph with a tip and a contact person for any interested reporter to get in touch with. And I know New York State is not New London County, but we got a very good take-up rate all the time. For this, if this were something you were interested in doing, and I'm not suggesting there's any vote taken now, we'll get this copy of this to you. I see a consortium, Eastern Connecticut Library Communication, or whatever the heck we want to call it. And it would involve any library in Eastern Connecticut that wanted to be part of it. That's the very strict rules. You have to want to be part of it to be in, and you'd be invited to send once a month an idea for news coverage. And I don't know who'll be responsible, or maybe it's 3 months, probably be the larger libraries. For 3 months, Groton would do it. For 3 months, New London would do it. We'd share the responsibility of getting out the sheet, both hard copy and electronically, and try it for 6 months and see if it works. Because it worked in New York does not mean it's going to work here. One idea. Idea number two, we have a population that I don't think we are reaching. I don't think we're reaching as well as we could, or I don't think we're reaching as well as pent-up demand might suggest. And those are our seniors in public housing. So as one who hates silos, I would suggest we consider a collaboration between Groton Housing Authority, the Senior Center, and the library, making use of the Senior Center buses twice a month on a scheduled basis to ferry people from the senior housing to the library and to bring them home. I don't know, twice a month, that'd give them a chance to return books without any overdue fines. We might even have on the bus a box where if they didn't want to go to the library, they could just drop the book in the box and have it get back to the library.
Great idea.
So that's number two. The problem with that, as I understand it, is not the absence of a bus, but the absence of bus drivers. So I don't know where
Very much so.
I don't know, Jen, whether your employees would be covered under insurance or not, so that we could overcome that problem. That's a technical issue above my pay grade, but that's an idea. Number three, and then I'll stop for now because I got a lot more, but I'm not going to drown you. I'll give you three at a time.
I like 1 and 2 a lot. Keep going.
Okay. Number three, are you guys familiar with the old Chautauquas? Anybody know what a Chautauqua is?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anybody not know what a Chautauqua is? Okay, it's a late 19th, early 20th century thing that was founded in Chautauqua, New York, of all places. That's why it's called a Chautauqua. And it would, in its original version, people from all over the country would come to Chautauqua. It wouldn't be tens and tens of thousands. It wasn't the Motley Crew, but they did have hundreds and hundreds came to these things for serious discussions about events of current events. They would bring in speakers. And I think that this is a wonderful way to collaborate with libraries. It can again be our Eastern Connecticut collaborative, but the host would be moved from place to place, or funds, a little bit of funds from the participating people. And we could find some really interesting speakers. we have got some tremendous universities here. I know what this has nothing to do with Judaism. I know what the synagogue in Willimantic does. It has speakers coming in from stores like several times a year. Their topics are going to be different from our topics, but we can find people from all over the state of Connecticut who we can bring in. We don't have to pay thousands and thousands of bucks. So those are 3 ideas to consider for now. And if you're gluttons for punishment, you'll ask me for more. Otherwise, I'm going to stop.
I think those are great. Actually, I have a neighbor who is at Chautauqua now. There's like little, people have their summer camps there or summer houses. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's kind of, I guess some places along.
Her families own the
Someplace-
house for years, a cottage or something.
Some places along the Connecticut shoreline were originally colonies of the various groups. And the colony, they had a camp there where they had a summer camp meeting. And Chautauqua was a summer camp meeting, but of an intellectual kind.
Intellectual, yes.
Not a political and not a religious time, okay? We're not doing either one of those things.
Yeah.
Speaking about guests for facilitators, I had a name come to mind. It may not be appropriate this year. I'm thinking of Patrice Granatowski. And I would say ordinarily we should not have an elected official come during an election cycle, but she's not running this year. She's stepping down.
Yeah.
She's not running for re-election. So that takes, I think, the political thing out of it, particularly if whoever speaks to her has a come to Jesus meeting about not making it political. She's really good in my humble opinion. If it's not this year, guys, some other year.
Extrapolating from Matthew's idea about speakers, I mean, I think it would be awesome if we could get people in Connecticut who are really good at arts and crafts to come and even do a demo. I mean, so recently the library organized this Korean paper lantern, and I found it absorbing, even though I'm old or middle-aged and I should have been only 10 years old to participate. I mean, it was a really fun 1 hour, and there were lots of kids and females, no males, who did it. And I was thinking, like, this would be great if, you know, it was a live thing once COVID is over. And I think it would draw in lots of people into the library.
So Sashi, to that, very important. Believe it or not, we started the adult grab and go craft activity because the parents were taking the crafts of the children for themselves. And prior knowledge, pre-COVID, we had some adult craft night programs, you know, not regular, just random and highly attended. So to your point, yes, we are going to keep going with arts and crafts. We're going to keep doing grab and goes until we can get into more, you know, involvement in person. Yes, crafts and arts are definitely a favorite, and we will continue to explore. We had a lot of people for the calligraphy program virtually, which I knew it's going to be popular because it's an activity. You can do it home at your leisure, but I wasn't quite sure if people will be excited virtually, but they were. So can't wait to have it, you know, in person where people can actually ask questions and showcase what they've done. So definitely. So
I left one thing out, Sashi. A Chautauqua is not a lecture. A Chautauqua is a period of time during which there is a sequence of events. It could start with a Friday evening and have 3 or 4 more events all day Saturday. And depending upon how tired you were, you could even consider something Sunday. But at least a Friday night and Saturday.
And
Love
even
that.
if the person cannot do the demo because it's too complicated, at least invite the person and have a facilitator, and maybe, so there's this person in Stonington who does these beautiful cards, you know, and I buy her cards because, like, I'm so much in love with them now. But if you could invite her, and I've heard her on a podcast, and it's very interesting, her story, and if she could bring her cards, and, you know, I think people would be interested in something, promote art and crafts in Connecticut.
Absolutely.
Good idea. Okay, well, if we have no other new business, which thank you, Matthew, and you all for your great ideas on how to market, but also how to have this meeting and have just a discussion. I think it kind of calms us down. Yes, we just want to talk. We want to talk. We want to share. We want to learn from each other, and
Mhm.
we don't have to be any more fancy than that. You know, it's time to get together.
Mhm.
So before I call for an adjournment, Jennifer, just recapping, you're going to speak with Chris and Wendy and
Correct.
see if they're on board to do a presentation, if
Mhm.
5-10 minute presentation about the topics we mentioned about their pandemic experiences and how they're coming through with them, their libraries. And then you're also going to seek a facilitator, but if you run into trouble, you might give Matthew a call.
Sure.
Patrice, or might be available. And we will not have an August meeting unless there's catastrophe, but we won't have. But we'll
Exactly.
Or a $200,000 donation, we would have to.
Right. We have to go spend it. But we'll definitely, have some kind of in-touch communications next week from Jennifer's conversation with the
Mhm.
library leaders, but also why don't we plan, Jennifer, early September that you and I get together and you nudge me if you would, and we'll draft an agenda for the meeting, kind of put a little more
Sounds good. Sounds good.
bone
We
to
also, we also have to plan food for it too. I'm happy to make cookies.
You make good cookies.
Oh, we-
Marilyn.
we make note, right? Definitely, and we'll just keep it, just light refreshments. We don't have to give them dinner, but we'll.
Right.
Thank you, Marilyn. Your cookies are highly desirable.
I'm happy to make
Yeah.
something too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can bring.
Yeah, we will do.
Great.
Lovely.
It'll just be board supplied, and we'll.
Yeah.
fill in the
Or
gaps.
I can bring cheese and crackers or whatever.
We're gonna need something to drink, so keep that in mind.
Okay.
I can supply the drinks. No problem.
Okay, wonderful. And we'll just kind of refresh it, we'll
Early
reminders.
September.
Right.
Sounds good.
Okay, excellent. Well, everyone have a good rest of the summer. I really appreciate your attendance at the meetings, and it'd be great to see you in person.
Yes.
We'll aim for that,
Absolutely.
but if it is not in the cards, we will adjust.
Do it.
We will adjust. Okay,
Been
Good.
flexible thus far.
right. Anyone like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 5:15?
So moved.
And Marilyn, great. In a second?
Second.
Matthew,
Second.
thank you. Okay, great. Hey,
Y'all have a blessed night.
Yep.
Lovely to see you all.
See you in September.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.